Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside your head that fuels your drive to get things done? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret life of your brain's very own motivation molecule. Let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're just staring at your to-do list, knowing you should be doing something, but nothing. Your get up and go just isn't there. It actually turns out there's a really cool story happening inside your brain that explains exactly why that happens.
All right, it's time to meet the hero of our story, dopamine. Seriously, you can think of it as the CEO of your brain, the one calling the shots when it comes to feeling motivated and ready to tackle the day.
So, what is dopamine exactly? Just think of it as your brain's own personal cheerleader. It's a neurotransmitter, which is just a fancy word for a chemical messenger, and it's a huge part of your brain's reward system. Whenever you do something that feels good, dopamine is what gives you that little jolt of pleasure and basically yells, "Yes, that was great, let's do that again."
And dopamine is a serious multitasker. It's not just about rewards. It's absolutely crucial for keeping your emotions on an even keel, helping you feel generally pretty good. Plus, it's essential for your thinking power. It sharpens your focus, helps you lock in memories, and even helps you make better decisions. It's kind of a big deal.
But here's where our story takes a little twist. Our hero, dopamine, has a bit of a problem. See, there's a cleanup crew inside the brain that can sometimes get, let's just say, a little too excited about its job.
So here's how it all works. After dopamine delivers one of its awesome good-feeling messages, a team of enzymes comes in to tidy up. This crew is called MAO, and this cleanup process is totally normal and healthy. The problem is, sometimes this crew is just too good at its job. It clears away way too much dopamine, leaving you feeling drained and unmotivated.
And that leads us to the big question, right? If this super eager cleanup crew is the problem, is there anything we can do about it? How do we protect our motivation molecule and keep it going strong?
Well, it turns out nature might have a few tricks up its sleeve. Let's introduce the allies in our story, a couple of tiny bodyguards that can step in and give our hero dopamine a little backup.
Let me introduce you to Chrysin and Fisetin. Now, these are natural compounds you can find in things like passionflower and even strawberries. They've been studied for their really interesting effects on the brain. You can think of them as the support team that dopamine has been waiting for.
Okay, so how do these little bodyguards actually work their magic? Well, they each have a pretty unique strategy for protecting dopamine from that overeager cleanup crew we talked about. Let's start with Chrysin.
Chrysin basically acts like a supervisor for the cleanup crew. It steps in and gently tells them, hey, let's slow it down a bit. This helps preserve not just dopamine, which is great for your motivation, but also other feel-good molecules like serotonin, which supports your overall emotional stability.
Now, our other ally, Fisetin, is a bit different. It doesn't just have one move. It has a whole triple action plan to support dopamine and help promote that mental clarity we're all after.
First up, Fisetin provides direct support. It actually interacts with the docking stations, the receptors that receive dopamine's messages. And just like Chrysin, it also helps slow down that MAO cleanup crew. This 1-2 punch helps keep the communication lines for dopamine open and clear, which can really help with your focus.
Second, Fisetin plays defense. It acts like a real bodyguard for the brain cells that actually make the dopamine. It helps protect them from damage from things like oxidative stress and inflammation. It's basically keeping the dopamine factory safe and running smoothly, which is a fantastic long-term strategy.
And that brings us to the third and final part of its master plan. Part 3 is all about the payoff. It's the big picture. By supporting the entire dopamine system in all these different ways, Fisetin's actions may lead to the kinds of benefits we're all looking for. Better focus, sharper memory, more mental energy, and of course, a boost in positive mood and motivation. It just goes to show how supporting one tiny molecule can have a huge impact.
So, after that whirlwind tour of your brain, what's the big takeaway? What does all this mean for you in your day-to-day life?
Let's break it down. First, your motivation, mood, and focus are all tied to this amazing molecule, dopamine. Second, a natural cleanup crew in your brain can sometimes get a little too aggressive and lower your dopamine levels. And third, certain natural compounds like Chrysin and Fisetin might be able to step in and help support healthy dopamine activity.
Okay, now, before we wrap this up, we have to talk about something that's extremely important.
While all this science is fascinating, it's critical to know that neither Chrysin nor Fisetin is approved by the FDA to prevent, treat, or cure any medical condition.
And this right here is the most important point of all. If any of this has you curious about your own health, you absolutely must talk to a qualified healthcare professional. They're the only ones who can help you figure out what's right for you. Seriously, this step is non-negotiable.
So there you have it, the secret life of your brain's motivation molecule. Pretty cool, right? Understanding this incredible story gives you a whole new appreciation for the amazing chemistry behind how we feel and act every single day. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.